Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings Canes Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of The Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring cane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Porter live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the six-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of Hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Cane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
The Canes win 20-4.
W! Woo!
Let's go Canes, am I right?
There it is, back to 500.
The Canes won 20-14
ACC
against
win.
Virginia
On the
Tech
road.
in ACC play. Good, great, awesome, fantastic. That's been the show, everybody. I hope you guys have a great day. We're out of here.
To drink heavily.
Yeah,
We outgained them by 150 yards.
Danny said he wanted to take a shower, and I said, yeah, and whiskey, right?
Exactly, 100%. 100%. Oh my
right.
gosh.
All right, so 20-14. 3
Right,
points
before we go full on, because I think anyone that watched the game, obviously the way really the fourth quarter transpired, but really most of the second half was just not good. So we're probably going to slant that way, recency bias. But we should mention Colby Young, outstanding again. Tyler Van Dyke was really good. We seemed to have the passing game going smoothly. Ladson had a big catch at the end of the game. So Mallory got concussed and got knocked out, made a couple of tough catches before that. So, all right, with that out of the way.
Mallory got absolutely leveled, by the way. That was a huge hit on Mallory.
Yeah, no, it was a cheap shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why the guy was ejected.
Yep,
So they called it, but yeah.
Boy,
so there were some positives. I mean, the 20-point lead didn't come from nowhere. So so there were some positives, and the defense played well for three.
It almost went somewhere.
And the defense played really well for 3 quarters, and then. Well, actually, I will say they still had busts. We got away with a bad one.
Yeah, we got away.
That they dropped at the beginning of the third quarter. But overall, the first 3 quarters, we controlled the entire game, and then bottom almost fell out.
But I'll tell you what, that front four is pretty damn good. As they continue to be one of the top front fours in the country, believe it or not. So, which is just interesting to say, considering how bad this team looks sometimes. And I think the biggest number and the biggest thing that we need to talk about right now is the lack of discipline and the lack of composure and
let me pull the stats up.
Anything else that you want to put any other words that you want to kind of put in there, but we're talking about 16 penalties for 144 yards.
We couldn't kneel the ball without doing 12-man in the huddle.
We got a penalty in a victory formation. Like we can't even win. We can't even. We got a penalty on the. We don't know how to win. We can't even win on a victory formation. We get a penalty on a victory formation. You don't understand the amount of alcohol that I want to consume at this very moment for the lack. I mean, it's not only the player's fault, but good Lord Almighty, coaching, you got to get it together and have these guys ready to play. This is unacceptable to have 16 penalties for 144 yards, whether it's on offense or defense. It boggles my mind. Not only that, but it also boggles my mind that in the fourth quarter, you're not running the ball. And I get it. We didn't run the ball well again. We didn't run the ball well. Oh, around the Getson just dropped the ball. I get it. We're not running the ball well, but we still did okay, right? We had about 100 yards rushing. We had some plays that we could, get some yardage. Get me 2 or 3 yards. Make them call their timeouts early.
It's situational football.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and I gotta give that, and I gotta put that on Josh Gaddis. I haven't been critical of him that much. because I said, hey, well, we're lacking here, we're lacking there. But at the same time, my guy, you got to do better. You got to do better at that point in the game. And like you said, Vish, it's situational football. Okay, DJ, you know it. You've been part of the game for a long time as well. That's unacceptable at that time. And again, it goes back to no, it doesn't. You know what? Screw that. It doesn't go back.
It doesn't go back to anything.
It doesn't go back to not knowing how to win because you're Josh Gaddis. You're the offensive coordinator who was with Michigan. You know how to win there. You know how to win in Alabama.
Michigan made him look pretty damn good. I'll say that. Michigan made him look good. Michigan made him look good. And I'll say this. They had a good offensive line and good running backs.
Yeah, they had the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah, Michigan made him look good. That's all I'm saying.
So I don't know that that's necessarily, as Blue joins us, I don't know if that's necessarily, just Michigan. I mean, I think he definitely gets the blame for how the end game situation was going. Like, our offensive line is so bad that I think his initial decision to lean heavy on the pass made sense. Like, he doesn't want to be throwing the ball 44 times. But you got to play situational football. We didn't do that on offense or defense.
No.
That first touchdown, we stopped their comeback right there. 3rd and goal from the 15. And a field goal doesn't do them any good because it's still a 3-possession game. All you got to do is stop them. We're in zero coverage. They're just able to throw a swing pass to the running back and walk into the end zone. Like, what are you doing? Our situational football was terrible. We dominated most of the game, which is why we won. And the fourth quarter was just poorly managed. We made a ton of penalties. Obviously, you can see it on the screen. We made a lot in the fourth quarter, which, kept giving them life. So there's a lot but just not, penalties at the wrong time, leaving guys wide open on 3rd and long again. Like, they only converted 4 of them. I venture to guess that most of those were like more than, I know one was a short yardage, but I think a lot of them were long yardage. Certainly that when we punted them inside the 2-yard line, it's 20-7. That drive, you 3-and-out them, the game is over because they're going to punt it back. Their punter stinks. We would have gotten the ball back in field goal range. And 3rd and they wasted 2 plays. Like, Virginia Tech is so bad that, like, they wasted 2 plays slamming it into the line, end up 3rd and 10 from the 2, leave the running back wide open in the flat again. And he just gets 15 yards. And then when they end up punting on that drive, we still had to move it. It was just.
My question on that play is if you're getting home with 4, why are you sending 6 or 7 guys in that play? Why? Explain that to me. Why are you sending 6 or 7 guys on that play when you've been getting there with 4? Drop back. Don't let them get a touchdown. It's not that hard.
Yeah, that 3rd and 15. I honestly, like, as much as everyone, like, James Williams misread the play and made a mistake, but the fact that you're allowing just formationally to have a situation where there's a one-on-one play in the flat on 3rd and goal from the 15 is just unacceptable. We should have been in a zone and should have said, you can have 5 yards. Like, no one should have been within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. I don't know. It was bad. It was not reading the situation, especially, like I said, the field goal didn't do them any good there.
No.
So you got to play that situation then, understand, like they were probably going to have to go for it, and we're not playing that situation. Like, it's almost like you said, we tried to force. Like, why were we blitzing and playing zero coverage trying to force the play, as if we need to force a turnover because a field goal kills us or something? I don't know. Again, the first 3 quarters were, other than the penalties, were really good, and that's why we won the game. So we shouldn't just, focus on the end game. But man, that was almost a textbook blowing a game there.
I mean, that first half was great, right? On offense and on defense. Both the play calling was okay. I mean, we still had a little bit of an issue running the football a little bit, but we were moving the ball. Tyler Van Dyke was on point again. Colby Young was absolutely outstanding. But you see that there's a lack of playmaking ability at the running back position. Jalen Knighton is not the guy that he once was, whether he's still hurt or not.
If he's either injured or it's like mental because of the fumbles, but he was not, and that's why we put in a walk-on who ran the ball better, frankly.
And listen, I'm gonna. He's not a walk-on. He was a transfer.
He was a transfer walk-on, right?
From UAB. No,
I thought he was a transfer walk-on.
No, he's from UAB.
No, I know, but
I don't think he was a walk-on. But and listen, I'm gonna throw it to Blue here because I got a bone to pick with you now, Blue. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Thad Franklin runs soft to me, and that's why you're not seeing him in the red zone. That's why you're not seeing him push people around, because he doesn't push people around. The way that he runs the ball boggles my mind as to how he turns his back to the defense every time he gets down there instead of punishing someone. You saw him on one of those runs get completely stonewalled by a cornerback, and he's 6 feet, 240 pounds. I think those are the reasons why you're not seeing Thad Franklin down there. There's something going on because he is not a tough runner for being 6 foot, 240 pounds. He doesn't do the things that a bulldozing running back would do. I'm not seeing it. That's why you're seeing Lucius Stanley play a lot, because I just don't see it. He dropped the ball as well. Like, he needs to play a lot better if he wants to get more playing time as well.
So just real quick, I did look it up. Lucius Stanley is a walk-on.
Is? Okay, well, but he did transfer from UAB. So
yeah, he agreed to walk on to our team. So he's one of those like preferred walk-ons where he could have a
that doesn't matter to me.
No, it doesn't matter. My point is that's where that's I know you asked Blue about that, and I'll shut up in a second, but I think that's reflective of Knighton's play, that they just don't. He wasn't hitting the hole at all, and they were just like, forget it, we got to go with this kid.
Tell me what's going on with that Franklin, Blue? Because I know we thought that he had that potential to be that guy that's going to go ahead and be that bruiser, get those carries. When he's getting some of these carries, he's getting stopped at the line. He's not pushing through. He's turning his back. He's not running with that aggressive style that a 6 foot, 240 pound back should be running.
I won't make excuses for him, but I will tell you, I could offer this. That if you're a pinch hitter in baseball and you get one at bat every game, once every other game, he doesn't get enough carries to have any confidence. I mean, what does he get? He's had like 7 carries in the last 2 games. And I understand what you're saying, but everything can be remedied by the times that you get the ball in your hands, and he doesn't get it enough. I mean, I understand what you're saying. And if you look at 2 of his runs, when he got the ball, as soon as he got the ball, there was a defensive lineman right there. So, I mean, and there's a lot of factors. I mean, you put him in a Ohio State offense, he'll carry 25 times for 200 yards every game. And that's just the way he just needs more reps. His attitude is
Blue, let's be honest. My grandmother could do that against Ohio.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm just saying that, he's not. I mean, the whole thing is in watching the game, just get used to it. This is what the entire season was going to be. The entire season. There's not a game left on this schedule that won't be like this. Not even close. Duke is better than Virginia Tech. Duke's got good coaching. I mean, everybody on this roster, on this Virginia, Pittsburgh, Florida State, everybody left on this schedule it's going to be a game. That's why my buddy said to me, as soon as he saw 7 points, he ran to his bookie. And he's a rich man today. I mean, obviously, I just didn't understand it. I mean, how could you Miami played, like you said, Jazz, they played extremely well in the first half, offense, defense. But there was something lacking. And even the TV announcer says, geez, you can't be throwing 50 times a game. And they were right. You can't. Yeah, so all of a sudden, Miami went from that Bethune-Cookman game where, oh, my God, they had 260 yards on the ground and we have a great running game to this. I don't see how that's happened. I really don't. I mean, I still believe Parrish and Rooster are good, really good backs. I mean, heck, Chaney needs to come back.
Oh, I know. But somebody said, man, we miss Chaney on this team. I go, yeah, we've missed him for 3 years already. So
yeah.
Poor guy.
But guys, Miami's what they are. We're trying, everybody, fans, us, are trying to manufacture something that they're not. They don't have a great roster. They have a good roster, but they don't have a great roster. And, it'll reflect. And you just said, I mean, I could run for 200 yards at Ohio State. Well, the same thing with the coaching. If the coaching had better personnel, maybe some of the moves that they make would overshadow what we all perceive as questionable calls. I watched the game, and even when it was 17-0, you felt that they were missing the penalties. Come on.
That's the biggest thing. The penalties.
Come on. I mean, both teams, but I don't care about Virginia Tech. I care about Miami, over 100 yards in penalties. And what, 2 or 3 of them brought back good plays.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. You don't get enough opportunities You play a Clemson, you play a Pittsburgh, and you make these plays, and you'll get blown out of the place. I mean, you just 100%. Will. You just don't. You can't overcome them against teams like that. Against a Virginia Tech team, when we saw their average. But I told you, the kid Malachi, and I've watched him since high school, is a beast. And if he was on Miami, he would be pretty damn good. So I knew this wouldn't be a runaway. It just didn't have any of the earmarkings to be a runaway. Miami doesn't, especially when you're a one-dimensional team. Now, defensively, I thought they did extremely well. They got a few people banged up. James Williams got hurt. He came back in, but I know that he got hurt a little bit. They came out of this with some injuries, and that kind of bothers me a little bit heading in the next week, because Miami's not the type of team that could afford to lose anybody. They're not deep enough, and but they didn't play smart, and I'm sure that Mario Cristobal will be the first to admit that his team, not the coaches. I don't want to hear how it's on us. No, it's not. It's not. It's on the kids. I mean, they do what they can during practice all day, to teach them all this stuff. But to me, the penalties were unacceptable, and he needs to address that right away.
I think it's on both, by the way. It's both the players and the coaches.
I'd agree. I mean,
I would agree.
And then managing the game, like, that's on the coaches. Like, the fact that we mismanaged the fourth quarter and gave them extra chance after, like, they punted down 13 points with 7 minutes left, and we gave it back to them with 6:15.
We took 48
I'm sorry. That is just bad. That's bad coaching.
But you have no running game, so you become a one.
You got to work the clock some. It doesn't matter. You're playing the situation at that point.
But if without a running game to eat clock up, how you?
No, I'm not saying the running game would have been effective. We threw 3 incompletions and punted it back to them. And
that's what I'm saying. Because you didn't have an option. You didn't have an option of running.
Even if you run for no yards, what you're doing is at least either forcing them to call a timeout, or they're going to.
Even if you run for no yards, don't snap it quick. Take some time off the clock, and then see where you go from there.
Actually tweeted this out when that drive started. Like, I prefer to run for 0 yards here than to try to throw it all over the place. Just take the clock down. You take 2 minutes off the clock there. We took 30 seconds. Like, I don't know why they punted. Frankly, it was 4th and 4, and they needed to score twice. But then, we gave them the ball back after only a minute. So. Yeah. There was some bad game management down at the end, which gave Virginia Tech chance after chance there that they probably didn't. Their play didn't warrant. Yeah. A lot of those penalties that their last touchdown drive was basically sustained by our penalties. But
that goes back to what Blue was saying, right? This is what we should expect from this team,
right? But the penalties came out of nowhere. We'd been very good penalty wise this year, and this was just a penalty apocalypse. Yeah. I mean, this was a complete disaster, and it was actually one of the things we were really good at was not making penalties. So I don't know what happened. I do know a lot of them were on our offensive line who played terribly, and that's also why we were looking at the running backs. I mean, they're not really opening holes up here. Yeah. So I think the offensive line needs a lot of work, and at the very least, you cannot keep false starting. The number of times where Blue pointed out we wiped out plays with penalties, but also that we're in 1st and 15, 1st and 20, and we move it like 16, 17 yards and punt because they keep false starting. I mean, that's not – if we play a better team, you lose because of that. So the one thing I would say is completely I'm sorry, on that last drive, we did a great job. We got 2 first downs and iced the game, which is the goal there. They didn't get the ball back. That was awesome, actually. We were all freaking out during it, but you kick it deep with 3:12 left and 2 timeouts, you're like, we're going to get the ball back with 2.5 minutes left. We're going to go down and win the game. We didn't give them the ball back. We converted both 3rd downs and took a knee, but snapping the ball with 10 and 15 seconds on the play clock on that drive twice, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like that what?
Even Coach Cristobal had a kind of he said, Tyler, take your time.
Yeah, I don't understand what that was. No. So, I mean, I guess that's on Van Dyke because you're right. We definitely saw that. He was like, what are you doing? But, I mean, Tyler has been on the field winning games before in the fourth quarter, so he should know how to work the clock down. But man, that to me is just come on. Like they actually we had to run a few extra plays because of that. Yeah. So I mean, it's just now again they're not good, so we got away with a lot. They had some drops too that a better team like North Carolina didn't make last week.
Right.
So we got away with some stuff. We did some stuff well, and we got a win at least.
At the same time that a better team capitalizes off of those penalties. I think that if we don't make those amount of penalties, this might be a different score as well, right? I think that it might have potentially taken some points off the scoreboard as well. So I think that
absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, we made those penalties from the first quarter to the end. We were up 20-0 after 3 quarters with the penalties.
Yep.
It was a couple of defensive mistakes in the fourth quarter after they had a couple of busts, one of which was like on the first drive where they fumbled at the end of it, and then the other one they dropped that pass on 3rd and long, which would have been a touchdown. Other than that, they were pretty much lights out for 3 quarters, which masked over all the penalties we were making, all the chances we weren't taking, advantage of. And then, the bottom fell out in the fourth quarter.
All right. So let's talk about some positives in the game. The first one is Tyler Van Dyke continues to, I don't want to say improve, but kind of go back to his old self, right? He, let's look at the, his stats here. I believe he was, there it is, 27 of 44, 288 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Not a bad day again for Tyler Van Dyke. And I know some of those throws, look, there was still a couple of drops, right? Like you saw Jaleel Skinner with a big drop. You saw Frank Ladson with one as well. So again, they've been a lot better, right? You're seeing that some of these players, excuse me.
I knew Colby Young was everywhere. I did not know he caught 9 passes.
Nine passes for.
Yeah.
Wow. Someone said that he went over 100 yards, but I didn't think he went over 100 yards. Yeah, 9. It says here 9 catches 61. For 61 yards in a score. Frank Ladson, another solid day, minus that drop, 4 catches, 43 yards in a score. Brashard Smith is another one that's coming up.
He had a good day.
76. Yeah, he had a really good day. Will Mallory was on track to have another monster day. He had 3 catches for 62 yards.
That actually did really hurt. We struggled to move the ball after he came out. He was killing them. They couldn't cover him. He was making those tough catches that we said he has to make, and that really hurt our offense. Skinner is good, but he's not nearly that level yet.
He's not there yet. He will be. I think he's going to be better than.
And we actually saw that in the second half where TVD hit Skinner up the seam. He got kind of hit a little bit, and the ball came out. Like those are the ones Mallory wasn't catching the first 3 games. He's been catching as of late.
Yeah, he's been solid. Can't say anything about Will Mallory. So hopefully he gets better soon. And then running the football though, again, not great. I mean, we ran the ball only 22 times. We had 4. Thad had 4 carries, which. Blue, I will give it to you. He should give him the ball a little bit more, but 4 carries for 24 yards.
He had the one really good
run. One that he had 18 yards on, right?
I mean, so the other 3 carries are for 6 yards.
Rooster, 9 for 24, terrible. I loved what I saw bringing in Jakari Brown for a couple of those Wildcat plays. I thought that was really cool. That was very innovative or whatever. It was just a good move by Josh Gaddis there. Lucius Stanley had 3 carries for 20 yards, which is pretty solid as well. And then TVD, I know that it doesn't look great, but I mean, he actually ran the ball decently on a couple of times that he was able to get out of the pocket.
But, I mean,
he got a first down. He got 2 first downs, which kind of
in the winning play of the game was was him.
So I'm not sure what the hell's going on with the running game. Well, I mean, I am sure where our offensive line is totally.
But we're down our. I mean, we're down.
We are down our best back. Yes, you are.
Right, and the offensive line is patched together at this point. It's not our best 5. It's whoever's available, and it's showing.
Yep.
So I mean, that's kind of but I mean, you expect. I think the reason we're all disappointed at Knighton is you just expect better out of him, and I think either he's not 100% healthy or those fumbles got in his head because he was not exploding through the holes like we've seen him do in the past. Even on that play he fumbled last week, he blew through that hole and hit it like I'm getting this, and then he fumbled obviously, so that's what we remember. But I didn't see any of that burst today. It was all very tentative.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be interesting because we are definitely going to need Henry Parrish next week, and good news is Francis Magagoa and the rest of those guys are coming in next year.
I thought you said that they were coming in and play next week.
I mean, might as well at this point.
I mean,
can you not false start? If you can not false start, then we're good.
I will take that right away.
By the way, Jess, did we find out what happened with Parrish?
No, I don't think so, but I think he may have been in concussion protocol as well.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. I have to kind of find that out. But it's so funny, Blue. I mean, you just said it. The transfer, Mario Cristobal is going to hit the hell out of the transfer portal next year. Yeah. Oh, man.
Maybe we should go to Tennessee. They're up by 2 touchdowns on Alabama.
Oh, boy. Well, we talked about it. They're legit this year, man. That Tennessee team is good. I'm definitely gonna have to change and watch that game now. But and then on the defensive side of the ball, look, Akeem Mezador continues to play at a high level. He is, they're calling him one of the best defensive ends in the country right now. It's impressive what he's doing. Because at first I thought he was kind of quiet, but he was doing it silently. He was balling. He was absolutely putting pressure on. Maybe not necessarily getting so many sacks, but you saw me at a couple sacks today. Leonard Taylor, finally they put him in. He played a lot of snaps, right?
Yeah.
Well, more snaps than I think he played 15 last game or 20 last game. Like you're starting to see him get more playing time. Him and Mezador on that line, inside, rushing inside, that's dangerous, man. You saw Nigel Lee Kelly get a lot of playing time as well. That front four looks really, really good. Wesley Basaint, you saw him get some more playing time. Obviously, with the absence of Wayman Steed, you're going to see some of these other guys get more playing time as well. So I think it's going to be interesting. Someone mentioned it that if you're a linebacker in high school or if you're a linebacker in the transfer portal and you're a big-time linebacker next year, you want to come play at Miami for Coach Charlie Strong because you're seeing what he's doing with not the best talent, right? Like Corey Flagg, another good game today, right? Another sack.
Again.
Played really, really well today again. You're seeing him play really well. Keontre Smith
has really blown up the last few games. He's been awesome.
These are look, Keontre Smith is a converted safety. Okay, let's remember that. Like he was a safety coming out of high school. Obviously with the potential to be a linebacker, but he was still a safety, right? Kind of in that John Beeson mold, right? Where he was a safety, kind of played linebacker, fullback. That's the type of guy I see Keontre Smith. He's playing a lot better. You saw a lot of Caleb Johnson today. He looked better too. West, as I mentioned earlier. So the linebacker core is playing okay. They're playing okay. Charlie Strong has done a great job with what he's had. The ones that concern me a little bit right now are the safety position. Minus Cam Kitchens had a pretty decent game again today. Really didn't play too bad. But Avonte Williams was kind of lost on some plays. You saw that, on that fumble. Thank God he got that fumble, but because he got twisted and turned on that slant route that guy caught, he just chased him down and knocked it out. Him and I don't remember who else it was, but maybe it was DJ Ivy or something that knocked out that ball.
Yeah, I think DJ Ivy knocked it out. But
so he got
lucky on that. The one thing across the board on our defense is everyone's running their asses off.
They are,
and that paid off there because he, like you say, screwed the whole play up, but he chased it down, and when DJ Ivy knocked the ball out, he was there to pick it up.
100%. So Daryl Porter played pretty decent today as well. DJ Ivy had that one play, right? That everybody said, he missed that tackle there late in the game. But aside from that, DJ Ivy played a decent game as well. So he's doing all right. He's not blowing all these coverages or getting beat so much like he was the last couple of years. I like what I've seen in his improvement, which tells me that Jamil Adai is a hell of a coach. Okay, because you don't have the best talent at corner, but you've got some guys there. You're right, with the absence of Tyreek Stevenson today as well. I think the corners did okay. The safety room is the one that's a little bit concerning because you thought that those were going to be, that was going to be your stronghold, right? You saw James Williams struggling a little bit with tackling at 6'5", 220. The way that you run, you got to wrap the people up and you got to tackle. Got to be a little better in coverage. I mean, he's the one that I'm a little concerned about. I would probably say the most. I think Avonte Williams, it's just a matter of him being in the right place and understanding where he needs to be. James Williams is where he needs to be for the most part. Okay, with maybe here and there, a play here, a play there, but he is there. He's just missing a lot of tackles. He's not focused. I don't know. It's a lack of focus for me, Blue. I want to get your take, all three of you, on the play of James Williams, because I don't know, maybe I'm seeing it differently, but I think that he still has to grow a lot to be the player that I think we think he could be. But we're seeing a lot of immaturity, lack of focus, because he's missing a lot of tackles. He's in position and then he gets himself out of position, I guess is the word. I'm not sure. Can you guys kind of
let's go to DJ first.
Yeah. Actually, DJ, why don't you hit something on that?
Well, I was just gonna say, you can see he has the raw talent, and it's almost like he hasn't figured out how to put it together, or something just stops in his brain when it's time to make the play. I don't know, because we've seen his athleticism all throughout the time that he's been here, and it's just kind of puzzling because you can see him. He's at the spots where he needs to be. I think he has good football instinct. It's just a question of making the play. It's honestly kind of puzzling to watch. I don't want to knock him or anything like that, but it's just really interesting to see how he can be there for a play, but yet not finish. I mean, it's almost like something kind of just goes in his brain and he just struggles to finish the job. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Blue, talk to me.
Yeah, he's got a lot of learning to do. He comes from this school where for all his career as a high school guy, and even maybe, in his first year, all he had to do is push kids down and they went down. He doesn't really, I don't think his technique is very good. He doesn't wrap up at all. I think he tries to push kids down, and as you get a tougher schedule, these guys aren't just going to go down because you're going to push them. I mean, they have way too good balance. They'll bounce off of them. You know what? I don't want to keep belaboring it, but he belongs in the box. That's all. Force him, just like Pat Surtain did, to make plays. Because now playing, having to play his own game and freelance and stuff, he's more, you got to get him in assignment football, because if you don't get him in assignment football, you're going to get what you get. And I think I'd put him in the box and let him, then you force him to make plays, really, because then if he doesn't, then you take him out. Right now, Miami's lack of depth. Again, I think we talk about this every week. The roster's not great. And we saw that today. I mean, they don't have enough depth to finish things off. I mean, by rights, we could sit here. They should have won that game 35-7, really, but they didn't. And I think we're going to be saying that next week, and we're going to say that the week after. It's just what you get. We're trying to will them to do better than they will do, I think. And I understand the fans. It's
not working, Blue, but it's not working. I don't know why I'm screaming and they're not doing what I'm telling them.
Well, they're not gonna, because they're just. It's like I said. I mean, it's they don't have the roster yet, but they will, and I guarantee it. And you watch Mario Cristobal, and you watch his staff, and you say, hey, I mean, they're other than maybe a few questionable play calls. But then again, I'm not going to sit there and, because next year, they're going to get more talent. And, and you mentioned the transfer portal plus the really good class coming in. And this will be a whole different team. And then 2 years, like I said, they'll start knocking some powers off because they're going to have the talent. Right now, if James Williams doesn't do well, they don't have another guy to really put in to take his place, but in 2 years they will. And and stuff like this won't, you look at those. That's the one thing I look at some of these really good teams, and the reason why these kids play so well is because they have a fire under their butt. They have somebody right behind them. I don't know of a position Miami really has. And look at the running back. You'd think that with those two guys, they'd be pushing each other right out the lineup. And they're not. It's sort of like they're waiting for one of them to establish themselves. And you know what? If
who did push them out of the lineup? Henry Parrish did.
Yeah,
and that shows you that's SEC football, right? Like he comes from a big time.
But he didn't do very well when he pushed them out.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about the running backs without talking about the offensive line problems, because there's we were running when we had that offensive line healthy earlier in the year. We were certainly running a lot better. Like we ran up and down on A&M. Like the passing game was not working at all in that game. It's like the complete opposite of what the offense is now. So
you're right.
It's an evolving situation.
So
but I will say, safety is one position where we do have big time recruits, and they're just not like Cam Kitchens is the only one that's consistent back there. I mean, they obviously like Avante Williams got in this game early and messed up early, and then also was the one who blew the one that they dropped, which would have been another. I cannot believe that was 3rd and 15 or something, where we busted a coverage over the top. Come on, there's no reason to even let anyone get behind you there. So.
And then he punched back on that penalty when he should have just pulled away. And that guy hit him.
They both could have been ejected because when you throw.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying, in a better world, he would have taken it like a man and got out of there and let the other guy take the 15. And like you said, Vish, he could have got kicked out. And if he got kicked out of that game with the depth that Miami doesn't have at these positions, that I can see Mario now just, ripping his tail up and down. And I'm not so sure they tomorrow during their practice session on Sunday even that they address all this right away, because you don't want Duke to come in. And like I said, Duke is not terrible. They have a really good roster and they do some things well. They're better than Virginia Tech. They have more of a senior-oriented team. And Miami can lose that game if they don't wake up.
I mean, if the penalties, I mean, I think the frustrating thing with today is the complete control of the game for 3 quarters. And it wasn't close on the scoreboard either. Yeah. And now, like, the way the game ended, I think we're all saying in the fourth quarter, like, we actually have to make plays to win this game. Why are the third stringers not in right now? And it's because we made all those penalties. We just left them in the game. But I will say defensively, there was the 2 busts we mentioned. One we got the fumble on, the other they dropped it. Other than that, like, they didn't move the ball. I remember when they crossed the midfield on their first drive of the fourth quarter, the coach was like, hey, they got into Miami territory, because that's how dominant the defense was for most of the game. Yeah. So I'm not going to let the fourth quarter completely, erase that. But there was just, it's the penalties. And even defensively on their last touchdown drive was sustained by our penalties. So It's just, there's stuff to clean up. But we did play really well absent the penalties for 3 quarters, and why we played that bad in the fourth quarter and still won. It is a 4-quarter game.
Well, that's why it's so important, as we mentioned in the pregame, to get out to a lead, to dominate the team, because if you have some letdowns, if you have some issues, you're able to withstand it because you have the lead, right? And so you play ahead, you play in front, and that way, if there's some mistakes and there's wiggle room, I guess you could say, there's some room for failure, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the 20-0 lead did not just, appear out of thin air. We played really well to build that lead. And frankly, if we'd finished it, we'd be talking about, we won 28-0, 27-0. What a great win. Instead, we're like, I cannot believe we had to convert that third down with TBD running with 2 minutes left to ice the game. So it's
going to be a process. It's going to be a process, as Blue has mentioned, as we all have kind of.
But hopefully, now that you have a win, you have an ACC win under your belt. Hopefully, like, when they get in these situations, they're more confident in their execution down the stretch. Because even though you're up 20-0, it didn't take much to unsettle the whole team, because we haven't won in a month, right? And so now you're like, okay, we can win games now, right? And so that winning is contagious too.
Absolutely.
And so is
losing. And plus, Vish, they took the crowd out for 3 quarters, and that crowd on a homecoming day never left. And they probably had some nice beverages and got fired up. And in the fourth quarter, they let them right back in it, because that crowd was crazy in the fourth quarter. And, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and then coming back home next week. And then, I mean, like I said, I look at the schedule, and there's not one game that I could just sit here and say, oh, yeah, we got a W. Really, you can't. How can you?
No, you can't.
How can you? You can't. So we got to be, but we've got to, as a foursome here, got to prove it to the fan base that, Miami has to come out and work. They just can't roll out the ball and say, okay, we got a W over Duke and we're going to beat Virginia. But you got to play the game. And then, as we saw today, and as Vish alluded to, and he's 100% right, Miami dominated that game for 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, for some reason, they turned off the light switch a little bit early. And I think that, that's where Mario Cristobal is going to address it and say, you know what, we got to work on that. And I mean, I'm sure he'll rip every single position coach up, and he'll get his coordinators together and said, listen, we got to stamp on necks. We just can't let these guys, come off the ground like that. And they did, and they let them back in the game when they should. And even the announcers, I mean, they willed them to get back in the game because they didn't want everybody to leave their broadcast. So they willed Virginia Tech back in the game. And then when they had a really good finish, and that's the one thing about this team. They're going to rip your heart out a lot, but you know what? If they can come up with W's, it's not so terrible.
A win is a win, I guess. But and by the way, I want everybody to know, like, I've been holding back, and I mentioned this before the show. I've been holding back at criticizing our coaches too much, right? Like, and make no mistake about it, I still feel like Gaddis made the calls that he needed to make for the most part, right? During most of the game. right? You see that you're still struggling running the ball. You're going to throw the damn ball, especially if you have Tyler Van Dyke. You're just going to do it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, you still got to run the ball to keep them honest a little bit. So, yeah, there is a little bit of an issue there. And towards the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, I think he mismanaged the series before the last one. I think he mismanaged it a bit, and we all saw that. And we were all pissed off about it. And I'm gonna, it is what it is. You criticize, you criticize. That was poor management by Josh Gaddis and the offense. Poor management by TVD, because TVD as a veteran on that team, you got to be able to say, hold on a second, I'm gonna hold the ball. I'm not gonna snap it until the clock reaches 3 or 2 seconds. Like, you got to be better as well on the field. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there was potentially, a lot more that he could have done there in that series. However, which kind of brings me back full circle, right, to not really trusting maybe the players that you have on the field to run certain plays. And that's what I think played a big factor in how he called that series as well. Regardless of whether it was poor play calling or not, that obviously plays a factor. And the truth is that the players are going to have to gain confidence in him and vice versa. It's just, this is the way it is. And the culture is not completely there yet. So you're going to have this issue. And I'm going to call him out, and I'm going to call out Coach Steele, and I'm going to call out whoever it is when they don't do something right. And it's just the bottom line. That doesn't mean that they're not the right guy for the position, the right guy for this football program. You got to understand. And DJ, you said this really, really well. And a lot of people don't realize, right? Like, yeah, Michigan made Coach Gaddis look really good. Well, that's what happens when you recruit the best offensive lineman in the country, when you recruit the top, not the top 3, but some of the 3 best running backs in the country. You're seeing Blake Corum still doing it now at Michigan.
Yeah.
That happens because you recruit the right guys. And guess what? Gaddis and those guys that are here now were part of those recruiting cycles, those coaches that recruited those players. So when you let them do what they need to do down here, you're going to get that result. So we've got to give them a little bit of time as well. But yes, I mean, it is what it is. He didn't call a great game at that last drive.
I mean, on the play calling, though, we're still at the stage where we're nitpicking this sequence of plays was bad. Same thing with the defense, right? Like,
right.
If Steele doesn't make that 3rd and goal from the 15 call, which I think we all agree was atrocious.
Absolutely.
They probably don't score. We win 20-0 and everyone's like high-fiving. I mean, that so I mean, but to me the larger thing that was like pervasive throughout the whole game, because look, any coach is going to make some bad calls, right? That's just going to happen. You're not going to call a perfect game. But I thought largely we moved the ball, we scored, and we stopped them. And the reason they hung around the game is the penalties, which from the first possession to the last was holding us back and keeping him just close enough where the game wasn't over. So you got to clean that up. And again, if we do better with stuff like that, we get some O-linemen back healthy and maybe they don't false start every other play, then these nitpicky things we're looking at aren't as important because you're winning comfortably. Like, we were very close to not talking about any of the play calling.
Yeah.
Right. And then we blew the game. Then we blew the game, and all of a sudden it came back to fight again. Right. We were almost there. There. So it's just, I don't understand how you can watch these games and be like, these coaches are terrible.
Listen, if we would have scored like 28 points or 30 points, we would have been like, we got to clean up the penalties and move forward and move along. Right.
Yeah.
You would have been happy.
Penalties, like, you knew in the first quarter, like, we got to clean up the penalties.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But I just, the same. We didn't score 20 points on accident. Like, we were moving the ball, we were hitting throws. He was calling those plays too. So I don't know. And the last drive, other than not snapping the ball, with 1 and snapping with like 10 or 15. That's exactly what you get. The ball with 3 minutes left. They got 2 timeouts. I tweeted this out before the drive. I was like, we need 2 first downs and the game's over. Got 2 first downs. Game over.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
They won the game there. So that was winning football. We've been talking a lot about how we're not making winning plays. That drive was winning plays.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we shouldn't. I think the frustrating thing, we shouldn't have needed it the way this game was going, but we did at least execute it, and we ran the clock. They didn't get the ball back after they scored that touchdown. They did not get the ball back.
Well,
yeah, Aaron Feld kills me. I'm telling you, he comes up with this thing that says, "Building a culture is not for the faint of heart. It's a relationship game," and I'm proud of these guys for getting up, dusting their pants off and getting back in the arena. He says, find a way to be 1-0. Well, these motivation, like if you look, motivation usually is for losers. When you have to, when you think about it, when you have to pump somebody up.
I like that. I like that. The motivation is for losers.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm gonna add that to my daily.
Oh man, that's a shirt. That's a shirt for 5 reasons now.
I like it.
Hey, Vish, don't you agree? I mean, if you're winning, why would you have to pump people up with all these sayings and duster? Yeah. I would much rather not have.
Yeah. You talk about going 1-0 after you lost last week.
I swear to you.
Hey, don't say I said that to him. He'll come after my ass.
Reset the schedule. 1-0 this week. Come on, we can do it.
I swear I'm putting on a shirt. Motivation is for losers, and then little dash Larry Bluestein.
Author unknown. Author unknown. We'll do author unknown.
Author unknown. All right. We won't do it to you, Blue. We won't do it to you.
That's it. That Gus says it's his next tattoo.
I like that. I'm gonna gift you that for your birthday next week. The tattoo that says "Motivation is for losers." I love it. Oh man. Hey, listen. Look, at the end of the day, yes, Canes came out on top. They beat Virginia Tech 20-14. Lots to work on still. Now it's not the special teams. It's not the defense. But it's the penalties.
I will say, I noticed this, and other people did as well. Our snaps on those field goals and extra points were terrible.
Yes,
we were grounding the ball, and Headley did a great job of getting it and getting the ball down. But I'm sure they're going to work on that too, because that was
Clay James. Get it together, Clay James.
That was not good.
He was one of the MVPs today.
Yeah,
right.
But then I did like I really like Brashard back there on punts. He's got his head. He knows when to fair catch it. He's explosive, and he's finally kind of claimed that because we've been struggling out of that position. So yeah,
this is what we expected of Adam Vish when Restrepo went down to come in the very next game and do what you need to Well, we got a lot to talk about Monday, I'm sure. I just hope it's not the same stuff.
I think it's safe to say, though, we found ourselves a couple wide receivers so far, and I think that's progress. It's exciting because it was hard to see that this season, and now you're starting to see it, and it's not only that's not only the wide receivers doing a great job, but we're starting to see again. Yeah. TVD is playing the way that we all thought he would, which obviously is going to elevate the play of the wide receivers as well. So
that's sad, isn't it? When your punter has the best hands on the team. It takes me back to Brian Monroe. Brian Monroe was their most best receiver that year. I mean, I'm not taking shots at Brian, but Jesus.
Remember, we spoke to him about it when we were at that thing that they had. I don't know if it was Legends Camp or what it was.
Yeah, Legends Camp.
Yeah, that was awesome. But anyways, make sure you guys keep it locked here Monday night. We will have a full preview, a full recap again, real quick of Virginia Tech, but we will move ahead to Duke as well. So make sure you guys keep it locked for that as we preview Duke and go through some changes. And I'm sure we'll get some news out of some of the players that got a little banged up. I know that Rashard Smith got a little banged up. Will Mallory did as well, and some other guys. So make sure you guys keep it locked here. We got a what?
Yeah.
We got a guy from Virginia Tech on. Okay, I'm gonna put that up there. James, is that real?
I mean,
I should be, but y'all didn't accept me.
Wait, you got into VT but couldn't get into my what?
I knew y'all was in
VT is a very strong academic school.
It is. It doesn't matter. Listen, man.
Yeah,
it's like you got into VT but not Miami. Something's wrong with our admissions.
James, that's all right, man. We'll accept you. We'll accept you as an honorary Canes fan if you want, man. It happens. It is what it is. Look, one of my best friends went to school at FSU because he didn't get into UM. I don't know what the hell happened there, but his whole dorm room was decorated in Canes stuff. So, it is what it is, man. It's all good. We still love you if you're a Canes fan. If you're not, that's all right, man. You're a Hokie. It's no big deal. We're not going to see you for listening. We're not going to see you for another 4 years, which is sad. But
but you can tell them to buy our merch. The new T-shirts coming out. Motivation.
The new T-shirts coming out.
It'll be on sale tomorrow.
keep it locked because we will have that shirt. Oh man, Ethan, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it tonight, brother.
Can we get it in the right orange?
We're gonna get it in the right orange this time, right?
And if Ethan can't get to it, I'll take the orders and I'll make it. And I'll see what we can do.
There you go.
Because I can't not wear a shirt with that. I need to wear that to the gym every day. Motivation is for losers at the gym. That'll look great.
You got your Worcester shirt on today, huh?
I know. Worcester State University. Not exactly a powerhouse program there, but it was cheap.
Is that where they make the sauce or no?
No, that is not where they make the sauce. They have a lot of good alcohol out there, though. So
I'll tell you what, though. Tennessee's putting a big time hurting on it. They just scored again. They're up 28-10.
20. Oh, I'm behind. I'm watching it now. So sweet.
Okay.
All right, that's all right. Rocky Top. Let's go, Rocky Top.
I did not expect us to end with Massachusetts regional talk, but here we go.
Well,
gotta represent somehow.
My family went to UT, so I'm all about Rocky Top right now, beating the daylights out of Alabama. So, but anyways, again,
right,
keep it locked here on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes and also on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe, smash the like button for us, James. Follow us Monday nights, 8:30 p.m. The 6 Ring Canes show for you VT freshmen out there that want to convert to Canes fans. Please feel free to tell your friends about it. But we will also keep it locked here for pre and post game, always on the games as well. So make sure you check it out Monday nights, 8:30 p.m. 6 Rings Canes on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Blue, Vish, DJ. We'll see you guys Monday night. Adios.
Okay.
The 6 Ring Canes show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Canes show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Canes show. You know.